Good morning, everyone. About 55 minutes after the hour. Sorry, it took me a while. YouTube, for some reason, a lot of problems today getting connected. And yesterday it was Facebook that would not even do the playback after the blog. So I apologize. These are all about their vendor servers. Now, has nothing to do with me on our end here. So I hope everything's working today. And if not, always best to try to catch us live. That's the best way. I'm going to avoid all that mess, right? Hello, everyone. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Good. A lot of you joining in, as I had a feeling you would, as we are gearing up for one heck of a stretch. Active weather coming our way with 2 snow events and a round of extreme cold that could even make it into the books on records for the amount of cold. So it's an interesting setup. I'm not going to discuss a lot on long term today, not enough time. I want to just focus on what's coming our way. We'll discuss timing, impacts, get to as many of your questions earlier, and hopefully we'll get to everything that we need to. All right. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Les. Everyone's ready. Everyone's on board. All right. Type 45 plus 6. Type 45 plus 6 if you got your notepad ready, your pen, paper, ready to take notes. There will be a quiz coming up at the end. Make it stop. You need it. We all need a break, Tawana. Tawana's voice is barely hanging in there. We all need a break. All right. 45 plus 6. All right. Good. I love when people do the math. Makes me laugh. All right. 51. Thank you. All right. Good. Pen and paper's ready. Let's dive into it. As always, I like to start off with the actual snowboard because that's just a good way to kind of sample where we're at on the game plan. And there's only 2 items today because this is enough. We have an event tonight for snow, and then we have one for Saturday evening. Both of these are going to be very similar in really the amounts and even placement. They will be different types of snow. The snow for tonight is going to be more of a wet snow. The snow for Saturday is going to be more of a dry, fluffy snow. So you know what that means, especially when you get into Arctic cold at the very end, is that it's going to likely create a little bit of a layer of ice underneath that snow, which is the hardest to get rid of. That will be something we'll be dealing with. And even into early next week, we'll be chipping away at that on some of our cars, if all plays out as it looks now. Okay, so a lot to cover, but we'll focus on these 2 main events. Right now outside, cloudy. The system isn't here yet. I'll show you where it is. Still can get some areas of sprinkles, freezing drizzle in a couple of cases here, or flurries. The depth of cold air today is just kind of marginal, but it's getting colder as the day wears on. So it's not an issue if something's off track. It's just the atmosphere is not evenly spread out on the cold layer here across the region. But in general, flurries is what you would see. If anything, you may not see much at all. And we're going to stay generally into the 30s all day today. Right now, we're coming in at 32 and freezing. We may climb 1 or 2 more degrees. So we're getting everything cold. Obviously, ground's getting colder. We do have a chance, and I think we will, in fact, get above freezing tomorrow. But then after that, it may take 4 days, maybe 5 days to get back above freezing after tomorrow. So we're going to be frozen solid here for a while here, guys. So enjoy the mild 34 that we'll see later on today. All right, so where is that lovely clipper? Well, first off on the radar, you can see the flurries that are showing up. The radar, again, can only really detect them when they get real close to the actual beam there at Fort Knox. There are several kind of scattered all over the place, but once you get closer to the beam, you can actually see them. Very minor stuff, not worried about accumulations or anything like that with this as it moves to the area. But this will be the festive flakes, if you will, that will continue. Clipper Mageddon is located. I feel like we should name this. What I usually name winter systems. I think it's usually Bob, right? Well, this is Bob. Maybe we'll name the second one Nancy. I don't know. There's Bob moving across areas of the Midwest. It's on the map. All right, that's good. That's step 1. So now the data can really get sampled with this clipper. We have a good idea on its thermal structure, its profile, and that has been obvious. A lot of the modeling, I take probably a good 5 to 6 runs and on every one of them, and I animate them and just see the trend, the shifts, is there a shift or not? And it's hard to ignore. There has been an obvious shift that started Some of the global ones started yesterday, like the Euro. Some, like the Icon, the German model, didn't waver much at all. The NAM started to do its shift yesterday afternoon. And then the RAP model, which I'm a big fan of, just started to do its shift today. Now the difference I'm seeing in some of the modeling is now that the track is getting a little more focused into right across wave country. It's the amount of moisture. Remember the amount of liquid we're going to get, how much that can get converted over into snowfall. And that is starting to vary a little. In general, I'm seeing about 1/4 of an inch, but there are some models that are running into the area, including the NAM, that are putting out about 1/2 inch of liquid. So if you run a typical 10-to-1 ratio, that would certainly put us over 4 inches in many spots. That at that point would become a warning level event, winter storm warning level setup. So the amount of moisture still being key on this system, that's still wavering a bit, not too much of a shocker, but when you get a clipper like this with a warm boundary on it, this is what's going to be a little different than the one Saturday. This is basically a warm front that is stretched out, and the clipper just basically tracks along it, if you will. But with that warm boundary, trying to inject, we talked about this yesterday, it tries to inject in the moisture into the colder air. That's where you're going to get that banding feature. And I think that's what the NAM's doing. Some of the other models that are doing a higher QPF, it's trying to throw in higher amounts of moisture. But again, you don't want to get too warm or you go over to rain. I think in this case, the column's going to stay cold enough that this will be snow. So this could be a nice little thumping of snow in the Ohio Valley, and honestly right here into wave country. And remember, it's a 1-2 ordeal. So let's go through Futurecast. I'll walk you through it. I'm going to show you the how to pick a model. So we'll go with her. All right. And I think it's a fair. I mean, they all look about the same now. Now that the clipper's there, so the track is locked in against moisture. It's a little varying, but you'll see. So flurries continue all the way through 3 o'clock today. If you got lunch plans today, you're worried about getting home today from work and or school, I don't see any issues. But I wouldn't dilly dally. Not long after you get home, we will start to see the snow begin to break out. In fact, let me rewind this just a bit more. I should have put a point in here. So here's 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Now the snow will begin to break out. Here's 8 o'clock. The band streaks out across Kentucky and Indiana. Initially, it may have a little tough time sticking on the roadways just because we were in the 40s yesterday, but it won't take long. Snow rate and get into darkness of night, that will eventually just be overwhelmed and it will start sticking. They've already brined the roads. You probably noticed that, especially in Louisville. The roads are already brined, so they're primed and ready to go to get ready for this. And temperatures throughout this event will be very close to 30 to 32 the entire time. Salt is going to work really well in this scenario. So the road crews are going to need your help in the idea that they need to salt, then plow, salt, and plow, and do that constant process to keep the roads clear. And the treated roads will actually be in really good shape. Untreated roads will be a different story. They'll likely get snow covered, but treated roads can be handled easily in this scenario, as long as they have the ability to get to the spots they need to. And given this is going to be a nighttime event, most of you will be home from work and school already. There's not going to be a lot of traffic on the roadway. I think it's a good sign that they'll be able to do quite a bit of work throughout the night, Thursday night, to where hopefully Friday morning impacts will be reduced, especially on treated roadways compared to if it were to have just hit right at rush hour. It's a different story. So the timing on this being a little faster actually may work in the favor of road crews. Just again, don't dilly-dally. Get home fast for tomorrow afternoon. All right, the snow does continue through the evening. At times, it will be moderate to even heavy. And we look at that by tracking visibility. Once you get under a mile, you're getting into a moderate snow. You get certainly under a 1/4 mile visibility, you're at heavy snow technically. And we did that with the last system that was 4.8 inches. Louisville did that for about 35, 40 minutes. But we got close to that level a couple times, about 90 minutes time, and that's where the majority of our 4 inches fell. I mean, it was fast. We could get rates to that level, wouldn't surprise me. But this is the crucial part of the storm, is going to be at 11 o'clock tonight. It will start at 7, ramp up at 8, 9, and 10, and then you get to 11. That's when it's doing its thing. It'll be 11 o'clock. You guys are going to be staring out your windows most of the time, I'm sure, watching this one. And the kids will be just excited, waiting to hear about an announcement. You know what I'm talking about. All right, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's still there, still some bands of snow, moderate snow. But at this point, the warm front and the warmer push is trying to overwhelm it and push it off to the north and east. So things should start coming down south and west of Louisville. Once you get to 3 a.m., it's pretty much done for you. And Louisville will be on our way out of the system. Those of you north and east of Louisville will likely keep going for just a bit longer through probably about 6 a.m. And then as we get into, thanks for the imping, grapple, which is the soft tail, but snow flurries, like a little ball of ice, is what that report is from imping there that popped up. Okay, so that will continue through 9 a.m. But remember, temperatures will be going up throughout the day on Friday. So it's not a situation where we're going to get frozen with the snow on the ground and we're going to stay 25 all day tomorrow and roads are going to be a mess all day. No one's going to be able to get around. It's the opposite. We will be above freezing, so roads will become wet. The treatment's going to work great. Hopefully this will start to improve side roads, but even side roads will probably not improve to the point we really want them to, but they may just get slushy as the day evolves. But I don't see it a situation where people are going to be stuck all day on frozen roads. So at least that may help. It's going to be a challenging setup for schools for sure, because technically they could do delays. I don't know. It depends on, school districts are different on how their design is. Their terrain makes a difference. Sometimes they can't do a delay system. So it's varying across wave country. So again, that's why we don't get involved in the school issue. Just let them decide. I'm sure they're fully aware of what's going on. In fact, we just got word in not long ago that the National Weather Service is holding a conference call with all the media in about 6 hours from now. And a lot of this will be, I'm sure, discussed at that point. All the emergency managers, I'm sure the school boards will be on there as well. So there's going to be a lot of discussion happening later today about the system. And it's really one part of a bigger piece that'll come into play. And this will just become quiet the rest of the day on Friday. It may even be drizzle that'll fall during the day if there's any moisture left, because the profile is warmer. All right, what do I have after this? Oh, okay, the snow models. All right, this is always fun. I thought I had fixed the NAM one, but maybe I didn't. Sorry about that. Some of these inject sometimes a little bit of Saturday's data in there, but still the NAM's the higher one, so it's probably not too far off. But look at each one of them, the colors. Louisville's the little dot there in the middle. Like, for example, there's the graph right in the middle. There is the HER model. There's GFS. There is the Euro. They're all very similar with that stripe going right through the heart of wave country, northwest to southeast. There's still a bit of an issue on the southwest side. So I know it's still frustrating for those of you in Hardin County, Bullitt County, Meade County, Breckenridge, Grayson. You're like, oh, are we in it or are we out? Are we in it or we're not? It's like back and forth, back and forth. So we've considered that trend in the modeling. We've been looking at moisture levels. And this is what we're going to go with right now. This is going to be a very focused band of snow. The 1 to 2, I think, is going to be a little further south, but I think we're going to be a little more solidly in a lot of 2.5s to 3.3. I think that's going to be a very common number. So I decided to move Louisville into a little more in the 2 to 4 range, because it will likely be above 2 in several spots, even within the city. That's looking more and more likely. So again, these are ranges you're looking at, but trying to be fair to show where the bands will be. You get into Indiana, this is where we need to watch. And there's a general fading that happens. The moisture is much more, the amount of moisture injected in the system does appear to be higher in Indiana, and then it fades out as it spreads into Kentucky. So I do think totals over Kentucky may be a tad lower coming off of that banding feature. So that's why we went a little higher in Indiana. This is where you can get maybe some 5-inch totals. Parts of Salem and Seymour, maybe even to Henryville, Madison. Maybe we'll look at moisture levels the rest of the day today and track this carefully. And we'll be watching the ground reports that we're getting out of Iowa and Illinois to see some of the ground truth versus the data. So now we're into nowcasting mode. The system can't really use a lot of modeling here, but trying to really just gather how the system's performing and fine tuning, especially the southern part here. This is going to be the thorn. Confidence is fairly high on the middle part, but the southern part is going to be a thorn on that. So don't be surprised if we end up raising that, and don't be surprised if we have to cut it back down again. Deal? Does that make sense? So it's a wave country show of snowfall. Again, this will be a wet snow, and some nice little banding features with it. National Weather Service, so far as a winter weather advisory, they did not have Louisville in it originally. They decided this morning to expand it another roll down to include Louisville. The shift south was hard to ignore in a lot of data at that point. They may not be done. They may have to extend a little more, but now they have another debate that is their call, and that's whether or not to upgrade at least a stripe here to a winter storm warning, because some of the data and the QPF, or the amount of moisture involved in it, would certainly qualify for that. We'll let you know what they decide. I'm sure they're going through it right now and deciding that idea. Don't get too caught up on the warning advisories. Just know that snowfall is coming, and as long as you don't have to be on the roads tonight, just let it fall. Let the road crews do their thing. If you don't have to travel, don't, because you're just in the way. And it's a lot easier for them to get to where they need to on the interstates and the main state roads, to get those plows where they need to plow off the slush after they get salt applied. The more room they got, it makes things a lot easier for you on Friday morning. But if you're running out to try to get the new Grinch meal at McDonald's, not picking on that, but anyway, you're trying to run out at 10 o'clock at night to go do that in the middle of this thing, you're just only adding into the traffic flow, and it's not good. Trust me, the socks might be worth it, so maybe you want to go get a Grinch meal. But anyway, all right. So anyway, that's the outlook for system number one. Timing it out for you guys. We'll be dealing with flurries the rest of the day. Again, once we get into mid-evening, that's when the core of this will take place, and then I would say 2 to 3 a.m. a lot of this will begin to fade out. What questions can I ask other than how much on my street in my neighborhood? Because I'm not going to get into that. That's too much for me. My brain can handle that. Some of us are coming home from work at 10 a.m. Well, that's different, Lauren. You got to come home and work at 10. Yes. I'm talking about unnecessary travel. You know what I mean by that. Let's see. Heather's excited. Dog legs will be full of snowballs. It reminds me, I got to stay away from Myra on Friday. She'll be dangerous out there in the weather garden. Just enough to make slow. Yeah. Roads will be, it'll be slick for sure. They will be slick. So there's certainly going to be impacts. I mean, you get a few inches of snow like this. Yeah, there's going to be impacts. And darkness at night, you guys know how it works. All right. So just bear with us. You saw that we've been slowly just working on the changes slowly with the system. It's been evolving. I'm sure you've seen a million snow maps everywhere. Everyone's got different ranges and amounts. That's fair. I mean, everyone has their own style doing this. We try to be as specific as we can be. It puts us more at risk for being wrong when we do that. But I think this day and age to do, we could do a flurries to a foot, but I think you guys want a little more specific. So we try to hold ourselves accountable on it. It just puts us at risk and a target a little more. So that's fine. I can handle it. But here's the thing. It's certainly going to be one of those setups with those banding features that can catch people off guard. So that's what we need to watch out for. And we're going to know this fairly quick this evening. So this is not one that's going to be off track at 3 or 4 a.m. We're going to know before midnight how this thing's doing and performing. And if it's underperforming or overachieving, we're going to know that. So it's up to you. Write this on your piece of paper. You got your pen and paper in front of you. This is your homework assignment. It's up to you to check back in with us. Make sure to watch Kevin tonight. Kevin's going to be live tonight. Updating everyone on here on the live app, and then he will be on, of course, at 11 o'clock. Make sure to watch to get an update. Don't take where it stands now and just run with it. That's the way it's going to be. So these situations, especially with clippers, can be really sneaky. All right. So what's next? Well, because we're not done. Sorry, we have another one coming our way. So Friday is going to be our general. Just our relaxation day. We'll get above freezing. All right. We'll have a chance to thaw out. We're going to get melting happening. Treated roads will be fine. You can run out and you can go to the grocery, get more bread and milk if you need to. Whatever you need to do, doctor's appointments, you're fine there on Friday. Okay. So you should be able to get around. But I would take care of all those errands on Friday. Even Friday night, if you got dinner plans, a holiday party Friday night, other than some refreezing that may happen, no additional snow is going to be falling Friday night. So you'll be fine Friday night. It's going to be Saturday, things begin to change. Another clipper dives in. This is going to be a very similar one to what we've had recently. It dives in. Now the angle is going to be a little different, a little more east-west, but because of that east-west look to it, it's going to have a longer duration across the Ohio Valley. And this is with an Arctic boundary. And anytime we see clippers with an Arctic boundary associated with them, they tend to be a little more expansive than what the model shows. You get a lot more of a broader snow, very relatively light, much smaller flakes. It's a drier snow, high ratio. I'm probably like 22 to 25 to 1, maybe. Yeah, very high dry snow. But this, I don't think we're going to see a ton of melting on Friday. There'll be some melting because it's a wet snow and will be above freezing, but cloudy. So it's not like it's going to go away. You may lose inch and a half of melting possibly on Friday. I wouldn't rule it out, but overall, you'll be able to hold on to most of what you have in your yard. But this will certainly recoat the roads again and then give your snow covering your yard another fresh coat. But this clipper, again, coming with an Arctic boundary, will come with a lot more of a challenge here. Because with this moving in, we're not going to get above freezing on Saturday. So we're going to be frozen already. This moves in, and temperatures will absolutely just be crashing as the snow continues into Saturday night and very early on Sunday. Then, as you see here, skies begin to clear right in behind it, allowing for a rapid drop in temperature. So this is the snow map for Saturday night. This is another 2 to 4 inches. I think that's going to be a widespread covering here of 2 to 4 inches. Even our southern counties, you have a chance to get at least an inch out of this. If you're missed from tomorrow night, you have a chance to get a little bit more of a drier snow that may fall in your area, but it won't go anywhere because it's going to be so cold. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't have a lot of melting and you get, say, 4 inches tomorrow night, you get, say, the high end of that scale, another 4 inches, you're looking at more than a half a foot you could have on the ground potentially by the time we get into Saturday night. So that's going to create quite the snowpack between the two systems working as a team. Again, this we named it, what, Nancy, right? This is Nancy. So this is going to get a lot of attention because of that. Here's the temperature drop. This is very unique with the system, is that as the snow develops and moves in and ramps up into a Saturday evening, we just keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And at that point, as we continue to get colder into the night, the salt process, it becomes ineffective, doesn't work. So road crews have got a big battle with them to try to constantly reapply the best they can and keep trying to scrape those roads, but they're just going to be icy. They're going to be icy Saturday night. So if you don't have to travel Saturday night for sure, I wouldn't do it because it will be slick. And on top of that, it will be windy and it will be cold. These are actual temperatures by the time we all wake up Sunday morning. Here in Louisville, about 6. You get into southern Indiana, right around 0 in some spots. Low to mid-teens, perhaps, as you get into our southern counties. And this is somewhat considering snow, but still, if we end up with a deeper snowpack, the model doesn't see that yet, then these will likely be lower. So, yes, there is a chance we could even go down to 0, even in Louisville Sunday morning. What about highs? I think this may be a little too high. Some of the raw numbers, in fact, from the Euro only take us to 7 by Sunday afternoon. So when you have this type of cold moving in, obviously we got to watch out for our pipes that could freeze up. This is a drip your pipe type of weekend. Don't use those space heaters. Don't turn on the oven and try to heat up. Find somewhere to go to stay warm, friends or family, because you're getting a heads up. All right, we got alert days out for this. You got a heads up. Just make plans to go stay the night with friends or family that have everything working with a furnace or a fireplace, and you can stay warm and cozy and avoid all this because we're going to bounce back in a big way next week. We'll be back into the 50s, guys. So this is not how the rest of winter is looking here. This is just this weekend. So, and have some fun with it. It's the holidays, right? Do holiday movies and spend time with family. But I just don't think travel or being outside for long periods of time, obviously, not what you want to be involved in here for Saturday and Sunday. And speaking of that, wind chills, this is what it will feel like to our bodies when we walk outside, about 7 below 0, about 10 below 0 in Indiana, 12 below into Seymour. This is going to be cold enough that cold weather advisories may be issued from the Weather Service. We don't get those often, but they may have one issued for this weekend because of this, especially, again, if we get the deeper snowpack. Wind chills do improve into Monday because the wind relaxes. It will still be very cold, but I, at this point, don't think it's going to be down to this kind of level for Monday morning, but we'll worry about that later. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Let's figure out how much snow falls first, and we'll get into the rest of it there. All right, here's 10 day. Any questions I can get? And that's it. That's all I'm going to cover today. These two events in the cold. There's just too much going on. You see the stretch of alert days there. We've been through this, it seems like before. Taking our numbers down to 11 for high and 2 for Sunday night. We get above freezing, looks like Tuesday. And then 50s, mid 50s at that, with rain for later next week. Everyone good? White Christmas gone? Good question. I'm not going to get into the weeds in the long term yet, but I will say right now, the odds of a white Christmas have indeed gone down compared to what it looked like even a few days ago. So that's not too shocking, as we always see a yin-yang effect, right? Everything balances out. This is extreme cold. The rubber band's going to snap here, so it's going to trim back, and it may trim back to the point where Christmas may be the holiday that warms up before it goes back the other way, probably for New Year's. That seems the way we do things here. We'll worry about that later, I promise. Let me just get through the snow, and then we'll get into much more of the Christmas holiday. All right, guys, there's a lot of you here, but I need to run. I got a lot I got to do. More data is rolling in. I got to get ready for the midday show. Just want to spend a little bit of time with you all. As always, stay close to the Wave Weather app, and we're going to be keeping an eye on it. We're going to have updates constantly as we head through the rest of the day today, tonight, and, of course, into the what happened to the system there, into the weekend as well. All right, take care, everyone. I will see you guys coming up on the flip side at 11 a.m. Take care and be safe, stay warm, and we'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with the snow tonight. Exciting.